It's Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore racing's golden duo.
Tiger Roll joins the greats and beats Magic of Light.
Best behaviour on the near side with the wettest of saves for Barry Brown and Oliver McKiernan. Local trainer Derek comes in again and beyond his test. Lord Lyon wins it from...
It's Samco on the stand side before he had the second round, but he lands in the lead by half a length and goes on from Samco.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of We're Going Chasing. James, welcome back from Pakistan from your travels.
Thanks very much, Killian. Yeah, I had a good time over there. It was a bit wild, very different to Ireland. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Got a bad dose over there from the food and that at one stage, so I was knocked out there for a couple of days. And I'm still not fully right. I had the turkey dinner when I came back there and I only ate half of it. I've no appetite at all, but look, I'll hopefully be good for tomorrow and I'll get up to Leopardstown.
Hopefully, and hopefully you can help us pick out a few winners here. Obviously we had a couple of deputies in for in your absence, Paddy Aspel and Thomas Jakeman. So hopefully they both did very well, and hopefully they gave a few winners. I think there was a couple of comments about Jakeman that he looked a bit under the weather and to take his tips with a pinch of salt, but he seemed all right. He had a few good ones yesterday, and hopefully he'll have one or two then today.
Okay, Killian, sure, we'll get going. So we're going to preview racing on the 28th and the 29th at both Limerick and Leopardstown. We'll start off with the maiden hurdle in Limerick in Leopardstown on the 28th. Built by Ballymore is in our 10 to follow, and he's out. What do you make of him? Yeah,
he's gone to Martin Brazel from Pat Doyle, so hopefully he'll win it. JJ Slevin booked to ride, so it's a pretty strong race though. Like obviously all these maiden hurdles at Leopardstown over Christmas are going to be hotly contested. Like you've got Deep Cave there, he was second to Absolute Notions. Lot of Joy was beaten, I think she was third on hurdles debut. But she was a high class flat horse. She was rated in the 90s, so like she's the one that came over from Sweden for Willie, that ran in the flat in Galway, and it ran in one of the Cesare Witches as well. So yeah, she might take a bit of beating there, getting the £7 in her second run over hurdles. So yeah, it's a strong race. So if he won it, you'd imagine he'd be a decent enough horse.
Yeah, it does look quite deep. That maiden hurdle is usually quite strong at that meeting every year on the 28th. But yeah, of course I don't have a really strong opinion on the race, but built by Ballymore, I'd be hoping he comes in for the 10 to follow. Moving on, so in the race we've got a 2 mile 4 furlong handicap hurdle. Again, very competitive. They all are this time of year. Do you have any strong opinions on any of them there?
Yeah, Unanswered won in Cheltenham in November for Tony Martin. I think we said it here at the time, like he's like Peter Carberry made it look like he was pushing the horse along. He wasn't. Like now he's off 113 today. He won in Cheltenham off I'll have to get it here now. He won in Cheltenham off 111, so he's actually only up £2 on his mark. Like he was hacked right up from his Irish mark to his UK mark. He won by 6 lengths that day, but like he got a racing post rating of 126. So you'd imagine there's still a bit of scope there. I'd say like if he wants to win, he'll win. We'll put it that way.
Okay. Very good. Well, I've one sort of to take you on with there a bit. Lyser is the name of the horse. It's the Marine National Team, as they're probably known by now. Michael O'Sullivan is coming in, taking £5 off. Obviously Barry O'Neill is training there. It's the horse's only 5th start over hurdles. Now he's had a long layoff. It was about May this year when he ran last, but that was only his first run in a handicap after 3 or 4 starts in maiden hurdles where he improved each one really and won his last maiden. The winner that day, Digby, won again next time out, and then subsequently ran well in the Galway hurdle before falling 2 or 3 out, but was going well at the time. The second that day, Auckland, also won next time out, and there was a dead heat for third, and one of them ran respectably as well in their only start since. So, you know, he's been off the track for quite a while, but if they have him ready to go on that, he's very unexposed. The trip is perfect, 2 mile 4 furlongs, and while he was fifth that day, he was only 5 lengths off winning. So that'd be one that would interest me there. Aside from that, I suppose moving on to the Pertemps qualifier, we've another one here, Killian, in our 10 to follow, Eric Bloodaxe. Gordon has a typically strong hand in this race. Do you have any strong opinions on it?
I don't really. Like, I think we mentioned when we actually did the 10 to follow that he was supposed to go chasing, but obviously he hasn't. And I think I mentioned that maybe if chasing didn't go to plan, that you could always go back over hurdles, because we thought he was off a good mark. And
you mentioned actually the Pertemps.
Pertemps could have been a race. So, like, Jesus, I'm some judge, really. And he's here, and he has Rob James taking 7 off. Now, obviously, if you win a Pertemps qualifier, you can't win the Pertemps because it's never happened. So I don't think Gordon would want to be messing with that. So, like, you'd imagine he'd try. I think you have to come in the first 4 now. So, like, if he is trying to qualify for the Pertemps, you'd imagine he'd come 2nd, 3rd, 4th. If not, if he's just trying to win a race.
Is that Jigginstown style though? Well, like, I know Gordon loves trying to get one there in the Pertemps in any handicaps. He likes getting a few in there, well handicapped. But I don't know if that's Jigginstown style really for a Pertemps hurdle. You know, would they be happy enough to go ahead and just win it if they can?
Yeah, I know Cuneo, Henry de Brom had trained him. He won a Pertemps qualifier at Christmas years ago. I know Delta Work as a novice came 3rd in a Pertemps qualifier before winning the Pertemps.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously Gordon trained him as well.
Yeah.
So, like, he actually was 3rd off 139 and a 5-pound claimer riding him. And coincidentally, Eric Bloodaxe 137 and a 7-pound claimer. So they're going to run off similar enough sort of weights there. I don't know. Like, if Gordon thinks he can win a Pertemps with Eric Bloodaxe, he's not going to try and win this race and get a 7-pound or 5-pound hike and then get another 7 pounds off the English handicapper. So like, he's already off 137. You'd imagine that he's going to get 5 off the English handicapper. That's a 142. So maybe Rob James is stepping up there tomorrow to get a spin on him ahead of the Pertemps, and they're going to try and get him qualified tomorrow and see where they go. Like, there's a few down the bottom there. Maxim is a horse I like. He's one of those that's gone to Gordon's. He's actually priced up as 6-1 favourite. There's betting for this race. Eric Bloodaxe is a 12-1 shot at Bet365. You've Percy, can't say the second part, Legalos 10-1. Vina Ardenza 12-1, Music Drive 14-1. Interestingly, Music Drive and Manila Crooner were both unsold last day. They were up for sale on Tarsols online. Then you've like Manila Times in this race, obviously trying to mind his mark over fences, maybe, but maybe they think there's a race in him off 122 over hurdles too, that they might just pick up something. So it's a very competitive race as usual. So, like, you probably like maybe back something at 12 or 14-1, like maybe Eric Bloodaxe to come in the first 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's the way I'd be thinking as well. The Maxim 6-1, he's still only rated 120. He got 17 pounds for winning very cosily at Navan. So he's one that probably still needs to win. You know, so if you wanted one to win, he'd probably be the one you're looking at. And then if you wanted one at an each way price, 12-1 is very big on Eric Bloodaxe. Yeah,
definitely.
But right, moving on to the Jack de Bromhead Stayers Hurdle. Looking at, like, obviously I wasn't totally tuned in over the last few days, coming back from Pakistan and that, but the quality of the grade 1 so far at Leopardstown hasn't been great, as far as I'm concerned, and this will be the best so far by a long way. Like Saint Waff beating Visionarian in a grade 1 novice chase is quite underwhelming. You know, today obviously we're recording before racing today, but the Facile Vega is 5-1 on. You know, it'll be great to see him again, and with a view towards Cheltenham, but it's from a competitive point of view, again, quite underwhelming. And then the 2 mile Born Abrina Chase has a 10-year-old at the top of the market who's been very unreliable in recent times, followed by Blue Lord and Captain Guinness, who are 2 horses who I see being just below Grade 1 standard. So it's I don't know, they've got Gentleman to Me there as well, but I just think the Grade 1s have been quite middling so far. But this does look to be bucking that trend. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Like, it has been, like, there have been some competitive finishes though. Is the only thing. Like, obviously down in Limerick yesterday, the Grade 1, the Novice Chase. Like Jerry Clone winning that, there was like it was a tight enough finish. There was the first 4 were separated by only 6 or 7 lengths. Like, so, like it was competitive. Like, obviously San Roy and a Visionarian was competitive jumping the last, and like the races might be a small bit weak, but at least you're not seeing what like Constitution Hill going off 1-7, winning by 15 lengths. Like we're probably going to see
today in Facile Vega.
Probably going to see it in Facile Vega today, but like there isn't demolition jobs. Like even the King George yesterday, Brave Man's Game, is an unbelievable performance, and he's won by half the track. So like this race though is very competitive, and at the prices I'd side of Bob Olinger. Like he's 11-4 generally, and then William Hill have him as a 7-2 shot. Like 11-4 I think versus 13-8 on Flora and Porter is a very fair price. Obviously it's a pity Classical Dream isn't here, but to be honest, I think they'd both be in front of Classical Dream. He doesn't back up his runs. He ran such a good race in the Hatton's Race, and he looked so fit that day. I'd say he was really, really wound up for it. I don't think we'll see him again until Cheltenham. Obviously Home by the Lee beat both these horses over 2.5 miles, and you'd imagine the 3 mile trip would suit him a bit better considering the way he raced. But like I'm willing to forgive Bob Olinger the sort of mishap he had that day. Like didn't seem to. I'd say he's going to be miles fitter today and or tomorrow, and I think we'll see a better horse, and I think he'll win it.
Yeah, I'd be along a similar line of thinking there. Certainly between the 3 horses that we've mentioned there at the top of the market, Flora and Porter, Bob Olinger, Home by the Lee. Nothing else outside of those 3 will win it. Home by the Lee, I think the form will be turned around, possibly by both of them. Just think that was a weird race. He was just off the bridle so early and just kept on staying on. I wouldn't be looking at him as a betting proposition or that really. But Bob Olinger at the prices is fair enough really, because 13-8 and Flora and Porter is very short too. Suppose, go on.
If they were the same price, I don't know, would I be back in either? I'd probably leave it off, like, but with the way they are and the 13-8 to 11-4, like I'd be definitely siding with Bob Olinger. Like I said at the time, I couldn't get over the way Flora and Porter folded in Navan. Like he just backed out of the race. I never seen him do it before, and if I was a fan of Flora and Porter, I wouldn't have liked it. And I just think he needs to. He like. There's people say Bob Olinger has to come back now after failing to see out the race the last day, but like Flora and Porter is on a redemption as well. Like, and this thing about being trained for one day is a load of bullshit as well. Like this is a Grade 1. Like if I owned Flora and Porter and I saw him being hammered in a Grade 1 tomorrow, I'd be saying to Gavin Cromwell, "Come on, like this is like you can win this, and you can win in Cheltenham, like
Yeah.
And he should have won the race. He should have won the race last year, only for Paul Townend was a bit too clever at the start for the starter. So, and like he would have won the race because it took Danny about 4 furlongs to pull the horse up afterwards. So he was ready for the race last year. Yeah, and he's going to be ready today, or as ready as he can be. And if he doesn't win, there's big question marks over him.
Yeah. Well, particularly if he's uncompetitive again. Yeah. Again, another very good Grade 1. 28 is probably the best day's race, and although 29th is nice too. But the Stables Chase, what do you reckon? Plutarch, is he going to be back to his best? Very hard to know.
Like the excuse that was given was a bit watery, like that. Oh, his blood work came back strange. But like, if you're willing to believe that and forgive him the run, then like he should win this. Like I thought, Rachel probably gave him she probably wasn't happy with the ride she gave him last year in the same race, and Davy gave Galvin a serious go. Like I'd be surprised if Galvin was in front of him. I wouldn't be surprised if Conflated was. because you wouldn't know what he'd do. Like, he could do anything.
He could.
Like, I think, excuse me, Ruby on the road to Cheltenham put up Conflated there last week as one of Davies' best rides, and like the Irish Gold Cup, he really stole it. Like, it was unbelievable stuff. And like, I don't know, if Conflated's on a going day, he could serve it up to a Plutard. If he's not, he could end up coming fifth. So it's really all there, like, with him. Yeah, obviously Kimboy goes really well around Leopardstown, but like, the form of the Down Royal race took a real hit there yesterday with On Violin and the King George. So like, it's hard seeing him. Like, he's rated 19 pounds lower than a Plutard. I don't know. I think a Plutard wins, but I don't know what I back him at 6-4.
Okay. Fair enough. What I'd be looking at, actually, first of all, just mention Conflated, and if he's on a going day. When I was just doing a bit of research for this race, I had totally forgot, or I don't know if I had realised, the Conflated actually finished 60 lengths behind both Monkfish and Latest Exhibition in a Grade 1 novice chase at Leopardstown Christmas 2020. It's a pity that obviously Latest Exhibition is no longer with us, and Monkfish, we don't know, might no longer be with us too. I don't know.
It's likely he's no longer with us as well.
Yeah, you just never know. But I don't. Hopefully, it'd be great to see Monkfish back on the track anyway. Just an honourable mention to him there. With regards to this race, a Plutard is very short. I think at the prices, Kemboy is the bet. You said that race at Down Royal took a hit. It did, but you know, Kemboy finished ahead of both Conflated and Galvin that day. You know, he's hit the crossbar in his last 3 runs. He loves Leopardstown. I don't actually know if the weather is to change too much, but the ground should be okay for him. And you know, if a Plutard isn't right, I think that he has the measure of Galvin and Conflated at Leopardstown. You know, so I think 8-1, there's 3 places on offer. I think he'll definitely be in the places. That's quite a good bet, I think. Moving on, so the beginner's chase, Gentleman's Game is in that. Rob Atchison gave him a very good mention here on our stable tour with Rob Core towards the start of the season. What do you make of this race?
Yeah, I think he'll find it difficult to win, given the fact that I Am Maximus had a run, and now, like, he did everything wrong that day and still should have beat Manila Crooner. I think Mouse's horses generally, they might take a run to get fully fit. So, like, I'd say, like, I Am Maximus is 5-6, and in Gentleman's Game is 5-1. Probably an each way bet to nothing, is it? Maybe like to come second, and you have a chance then that he wins it. But yeah, it's hard to see past I Am Maximus just because he's had the run.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was 5-1. 5-1 is a fair price on him, considering how highly he's thought of by Rob. You know, but I get your point there. Each way bet could be the play there. Limerick, then, I suppose there's 2 races there at Limerick that sort of stand out. The first is the Grade 2 Mares Novice Chase. Aligor de Vasse has nothing to beat, doesn't she?
Yeah, I suppose, like, Broomfield Hall's race 132, Melina Girl 128. They've both won last time out. They're both race fit, but like, you'd be very disappointed if Aligor de Vasse doesn't win. Like, I've said this plenty of times, like, she's an atrocious price, the Mare's Chase, and like, anyone that backs her needs their head examined, really. Like, and she'll probably win tomorrow. It's over 2 miles 6.
She will.
And if she wins, she's even shorter. And if you back her, then you're an even bigger fool than now, considering there's so many good mares around as well. Yeah, she should win though, and you'd be disappointed if she doesn't. Like, Melina Girls obviously won last time out. Broomfield Hall's won her last 2, so they are improving, and they're like, you wouldn't be shocked, but like, she's on chase and debut, and she'll have to jump well because the other 2 do. Melina Girl especially jumps really well, so she'll have to be pretty good to win that.
Yeah, I think I like, and I do really like Melina's Girl. You know, she's very competitive in all her races. You know, even when she's not winning, she's thereabouts. She always runs a race for connections. But I think it's at this level, it's too much of a step up. I think Aligor de Vasse just wins, and anything below 2-1 on is probably value.
Yeah.
Moving on, so to the Grade B handicap chase. Have you had a look at this?
I have. It's a horse down towards the bottom. He's 10 stone and Claimer taking off another 7. He's called Brandy Harbour. He's probably my biggest cliff horse in the last 2 years. Trained by Gráinne O'Connor down there in near the Galway Clare border. Like I first got onto him when he left a trainer called John Nealon. He was rated 86 over fences and 83 over hurdles. It's taken him about 20 runs, but he's got up to 118 over fences. He run pretty well the last day. The jockey riding him, Diarmuid Maloney, he's actually quite good, and he's claiming 7. And I don't know, like, down off a featherweight there, 9 stone 7, he could be competitive, like.
Yeah.
Whether he's good enough to win a race of this quality, I don't know, but...
Are there prices up for that?
No.
Okay.
And he could be a biggish price as well. Like, there's a lot of question marks about the horse up the top of the market, like Castle Grace Paddy sliding down the weights. They're down to 145. Spyglass Hill was a 150 odd horse at one stage. He's down to 145. Like Lieutenant Command sliding down. A lot of these sort of older horses sliding down the rates. This lad's improving, and he just keeps improving. Now it takes him. He throws out the odd stinker, but he's usually competitive. Like it's in the last sort of year and a half, he's rarely out of the first 4 or 5.
Okay.
I'll just pull him up here. Like he's won last time out there in Thurles, won a handicap hurdle in Limerick before that. Now he's got £11 for winning in Thurles, but like his last 4 runs, he's been second, first, and first. And he'd a break before that. He'd 2 bad runs, but then before that he was 3rd, 5th. He'd fallen and he was 2nd. So like he is generally fairly competitive. Like so like I think he's probably a good each way bet, and hopefully he's a bit of a price as well. Like but he's one I sort of like. I don't know if you like anything in that race.
I do actually. It's a big step up in class for Brandy Harbour there. But one I like is Rebel Gold. All his best recent form is on heavy ground. He's going to get it again here. Was 2nd in this race last year, beaten half a length by Spyglass Hill, and now Rebel Gold is £4 lower. She'd be my pick. I don't know what price she'll be, but I think she's got a lot in her favour there, and I quite like the look of her. But I suppose that wraps up the 28th.
Yeah.
And we can move swiftly on to the 29th. And we'll try and get through this as quick as we can. We start off another handicap chase. Did you have a look at it?
Briefly, Gallamorgan Duke is a horse I like, trained by Paul Gilligan. He actually won a similar handicap in Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival a couple of years ago. Like I don't really know what his trip is though. He won over 2 mile 5 that day. This is 2 mile 5. He won off 125 that day. He's back here off 121. Obviously there's no prices, but I don't know, like I'd chance him maybe. Jack Gilligan taking off 4. It's a conditional jockey's handicap. If I was backing anything, I probably won't back anything, but if he was a big price, I might chance him.
Yeah, and the one that I'd sort of be looking at, again, don't have a really strong opinion on it, but John McConnell is going well. He had a 17% strike rate before today. I know he's after winning the first or the second there at Limerick as we started recording this. He had a winner at Limerick on Stephen's Day as well. He runs 7 here. Ben Harvey rides it. He was last seen winning over hurdles at Cheltenham. And he's been running very consistently, really, in his last 7 or 8 starts, and he knows how to win. So he'd be one that I'll just keep an eye out for. But I don't have any real strong opinion on the race as such. A nice maiden hurdle there following that, Killian. Embassy Gardens, Madman's Game.
Tag man as well for Henry de Bromhead. Looking, there's no jockey bookings here. I don't know. I would have thought over 2.5 miles, maybe Madman's Game might suit him more than Embassy Gardens, who might be more of a speeder horse. But the two of them, like, they're two pretty good bumper horses. So Like Willie's getting all the good ones out now, really, isn't it? You'd have to see the prices to know which one to want to do, and the jockey bookings. But I'd probably go with Madman's Game, maybe.
Okay. Grade 3 Mare's Hurdle looks a bit of a match. She Wears It Well versus Queensbrook. Queensbrook obviously won last time out. She Wears It Well stepped up to 3 miles and stayed on very strongly and won last time out as well. What way would you be swaying?
Yeah, I'd go Queensbrook. She's given away £3, but like I wouldn't like She Wears It Well coming back down to 2.5 from 3. I think 3 miles probably her trip now. So I go with Queensbrook, but again, I don't know the prices. I don't know, is it priced up? I wouldn't imagine it is.
It's not. No, it's not. Like, it wasn't before this anyway. I'd agree with you. Queensbrook, she's a very hardy mare. I actually really like her. And again, with over 2 mile 4, She Wears It Well probably will be second favourite. But you know, if Queensbrook, if there's any bit of value there, I do think she'll win. Following that, we've a 3 mile grade 1 novice chase. 3 Stripe Life. We spoke about him a nice few times on the podcast, and I've been waiting for him to step up to 3 miles over fences, put him in the 10 to follow for this reason, that I wanted to see him stepped up in trip. Now we got a lot of entries, you know, and they were over 2 mile 4. He ran over those intermediate trips, and now at long last we're seeing him over 3 miles. I think he'll win. Mighty Potter is also entered, so Jack Kennedy will probably be riding him, I'd imagine. I'm surprised they're stepping up to 3 miles so quickly, considering I wanted them stepped up to 2.5 for a long time, and it took a long time for that to happen, and now they're going straight up to 3 miles. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't run, and then Jack ends up on 3 Stripe Life. But I don't know what you make of that, Gillian.
Yeah, obviously Gaia DeMille is high class, but he finds it hard to win. I'd like 3 Stripe Life. I actually backed him the other day at 3-1 for this race. Thinking Mighty Potter wouldn't be declared, and that it'd be a match against Gaia DeMille. And obviously Mighty Potter's there, and like I'd be surprised if he runs. Maybe they're leaving him in to see what the ground is like. But when he's won over 2.5 miles and he looks tailor-made for that trip, I don't see the point going up to 3. And like, well, if you go up to 3 and then he could end up running a bit keen then, and like, I don't know, they'd need him to moving horses around trips like that. I don't like it, because they struggle to settle them when they go back up and trip, or they go back and trip then, like. So I don't know, I'd have been happy enough to see him left at 2.5 miles, but it'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. Sure, we'll wait and see, but I'd be sweet enough on 3 Stripe Life there anyway. On to our next grade 1 of the day, and again another good grade 1, but not one that I have too strong of an opinion on. It's a race to watch. Statement should win it, and I'd be hoping that Vauban could improve past Sharjah and at least get second. You know, because Sharjah is obviously on the way down now, so we want to see these up and coming horses, you know, stepping up to the plate. So that's the only comment I'd have on the race, to be honest, Killian.
Yeah, I tried to get very smart there about 3 or 4 days ago.
Well,
I heard She's Electric was an intended runner, and I was looking at the entries. There was 8 entered, so it was 3 places each way. And I was like, well, Bob Olinger is going to the 3 miles. It's not going to be soft enough for Tiahupu. Saldale probably go to the 3 miles. So that was 3 gone. I thought Vauban would go to Limerick, and I thought Pied Piper would go to Limerick. So I was like, I could get 3 places here on a 150 to 1 shot, and there might only be 3 runners. Her, Sharjah and Stateman. And Gordon Elliott and Willie Mullins have decided they'd run the 2 4-year-olds in this race. I was like, for fuck's sake. So now she has no chance of coming third. Like, she's rated 30 pounds below Vauban, fucking 41 pounds below Stateman, and 24 below Pied Piper. She's not getting ahead of any horse here. No. Like, so I might as well throw it in the bin now.
You may as well.
But yeah, I think it'd be good to see Stateman win, and win well, and put down a marker that he's a high class up and coming horse, and he could give Constitution Hill a race.
Yeah, it would indeed. The novice handicap, then I believe you have the winner of that for us.
I
That's what you
do.
were telling me before the podcast anyway. So
Yeah, I actually said it on the podcast a couple of days ago as well. Green Glory for Charles Burns. If he's off, he's going to win. Like, it's as simple as that. He won a bumper in Punchestown the end of last year. It ran in 4 maiden hurdles and hasn't tried a fucking yard. Beat 4th behind Derry Linda, bet 18 lengths, 4th in Galway behind 3-card Bragg in a race that's actually turning out really, really well. 3-card Bragg won, Sandra Lane 6 lengths behind him, Nookie Johnson in 3rd, bet 7 lengths, and then Green Glory 4th, beaten 13 lengths. Like, it's really, really good form. The first 3 have all won maiden hurdles. Obviously, 3-card Bragg has been 3rd in a grade 2 and 2nd in a grade 2. So, like, he's advertised the form well. Like, I think that's very strong form. Then another race in Clonmel, Green Glory beaten 7 lengths by the 4-6s. And then in Punchestown last time out, he was beaten 16 lengths by Sander Clegane. So, like, he's got a mark there of 111. I think he's better than 111. Like, his Racing Post ratings would suggest he's not. 106 twice, 107 and 104. But he hasn't been trying.
yeah, okay.
So, like, if he wants, he could hack up tomorrow. But or 29th.
Very.
But, like, sure, he's probably going to be no price. They know what Charles is up to. Like, anyone with eyes know what Charles is up to here. Like, and it's unfortunate.
I'm trying to think when I last heard he discontinued.
Yeah, he's going to win. I don't know.
I was going to say French Dynamite, but I don't think in
no.
Cheltenham, but
it wasn't that confident. No. If this lad wants to win, he'll win.
Okay.
If Charles says today's the day,
okay,
it's a steering job. Philip takes off 5 as well.
This will be a great clip for Twitter. So if he hacks up,
Jesus, I don't know.
Right. I'm not going to take you on any. I'm not going to that forward for that after what you said there about Green Glory. I'd be a fool because Green Glory wins apparently. So onto the bumper. A lovely bumper. Caldwell Potter and King of Kingsfield probably will be close to the top of the market. Bumpers isn't really my forte, to be honest. I wasn't totally impressed with King of Kingsfield in Down Royal. I wouldn't fancy him too much really. So I go Caldwell Potter, but I don't have too strong of an opinion on bumpers.
Yeah, I don't either. Interestingly, HRI entries here have Jamie Codd down to ride Caldwell Potter and King Kingsfield. So that's going to be an interesting one to see how he manoeuvres that. I've never seen it before. It's an interesting tactic.
It is, yeah.
It's definitely an interesting tactic.
I wouldn't be too confident on that.
No, I'd take both of them on if Codd was on both.
I probably would.
So, yeah, look, I think King Kingsfield will improve from the first day. Don't think he's a 2-miler though. Yeah, I wouldn't have any opinion. I wouldn't like to name out anything. But King Kingsfield was a woeful short price favourite for a champion bumper before he won in Down Royal, and thankfully people have saw sense and he's gone out to about 14-1. But still, like, you couldn't back him for that.
Caldwell Construction and Jigginstown will be on the phone to each other trying to
to see who's are they going to cut Jamie Codd in 2 or how is it going to work?
Okay, right. Limerick then, there's one race I suppose that stands out for the right reasons because it's a grade 2 and for the wrong reasons because we've only got 2 runners in it. You hate to see it really, but I was just had a quick look back before we started the podcast just to see what trends are in the race in terms of number of runners. And it often doesn't attract big fields. Now, it doesn't attract 2. This is the smallest so far. I suppose the fact it's limited to 4-year-olds only is one sort of caveat that probably reduces the runners. We did mention that Vauban and who was it?
Pied Piper.
Pied Piper, exactly, were both eligible to run in this, but have gone to the Madison. Maybe one aspect of it is that it's such heavy ground down there too that they want to mind the 4-year-olds. I'm not sure, but it's disappointing only to have 2 there. But over the last 9 years, it's got an average of 4.7 runners, so it's not totally out of the ordinary to see 2 there, but still quite disappointing. What do you think?
It is, yeah. It's definitely disappointing. Yes, like, sure, Brazil will win.
Yeah. I think trainers need to waken up a small bit. You know, like the prize money that's available there, that's worth, I don't know if it's 31,000.
21, yeah.
Or 21 for the winner, and then another
21 is the whole total prize money, I think.
You sure?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, anyway, whatever it is, it's good money. You know, and it's sort of, trainers just need to waken up a small bit, probably. It's not, it's worth 36,500. 21,900 to the winner.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
6,000 for second. Yeah, okay.
So that's a lot of money, and you know, trainers leaving that money behind them. But look, it's not a race that needs too much talking about, anyway, aside from the fact that there's only 2 runners. So that brings us to the end of episode 10. Thanks very much for listening. Make sure to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, follow, let us know your comments. We'd be very interested to hear if you've spotted any nicely well handicapped horses, particularly want to take on Green Glory, maybe.
There's none to take them on. You're a fool if you take them on.
But look, again, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you again in the new year.
Cheers, thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you. See you.